Well, hello everyone and happy Thursday. It is digital host A.J. Wuest welcoming you back to Before the Four, the live stream where I take you through some of 48's top news stories and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast. Wherever you're watching today, whether that is on Facebook, whether it's on YouTube, or the 48 Now live stream, as always, I have to thank you all for watching and spending a little bit of your Thursday afternoon here with me. We have quite a bit to get into today, so we're going to go ahead and start things off, of course. And starting things off in Decatur, where police say they are looking for a man they say is a serial sex abuser. Decatur police say a man entered 3 homes, once in April and twice this month, through an unlocked window. That's when police say he then sexually assaulted victims inside before burglarizing the home, wearing a mask the entire time. The incidents happened on homes on Ferry Street, Hay Drive, and 2nd Avenue. Along with police, city leaders are urging the public to make sure everything is locked. The suspect is described as being a black male between 5'6" and 5'9" in height, between 20 to 45 years old, with a slender to medium build. Officials say the suspect covered his face during the burglaries and assaults. And yesterday, we spoke with Decatur Councilman Hunter Pepper. Take a listen to what he had to say.
This one individual has caused a few people fear, and their lives are changed for the rest of their life, and I feel awful for those families. Whatever you do, don't live in fear. Do not live in fear. I hope and pray that this individual is apprehended, or I hope and pray that he breaks into the wrong home and they shoot him dead.
And also earlier today, 48 Sarah Grace Kennedy spoke with Decatur Chief of Police Todd Pinion, and take a listen to him as well.
We are taking this serious. This is a serious crime that's happened within our community, and it's not going to be stand for.
And 48's Callie Neese will be bringing you more on this investigation coming up in our evening newscast. But now the rain, it has gone away. And it turned out to be a pretty day. Let's turn it over to 48 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis, who has your latest forecast.
AJ, it's cold all over again. That's to be expected, you know. We're about ready to go into Christmas next week. This weekend, the first official weekend of winter. Current temperatures are in the 40s and low 50s, although not bad. It took a while to get the sun back, but it's back. We'll enjoy it. We've got another band of clouds coming in tomorrow and another front. We've got what's called an Alberta Clipper. They can be tricky at times. They bring in some wind and more cold air. Our temperatures will start off around freezing. We've got some clouds coming in by 10 a.m., and then that rush of colder air starts to move in, so temperatures will be falling into the 30s during the afternoon, and we might see a flurry or two, and I stress a flurry or two, and that is about it. This is probably one of the more aggressive models, and I've actually adjusted this a little bit north. So what we're going to see, maybe a flake or two by 3, 4 o'clock just before sunset, maybe a few of thereafter, but we're not expecting any issues from it whatsoever. The only issue is going to be the wind chill factor falling into the teens. Tomorrow night, we will fall below freezing, and if we can get rid of this cloud cover, we're actually going to get into the low to mid-20s. Here's that snowfall where they're going to see accumulating snow tomorrow into early Saturday morning. Notice right along the high terrain there, Gatlinburg, Newport, Johnson City, Asheville, into the Carolina Mountains as well. So the Smokies could see up to 3 inches of snow. If you're traveling there, you can always take our 48 First Alert weather app with you and stay ahead of the weather. Here's your 3-day forecast, 40s through Sunday. But as we get into Christmas Day, I just want to briefly show you the update. Christmas Eve looks dry but cloudy, and then getting warmer through the day on Christmas with rain chances coming in from the south. Plan your travel accordingly. Back to you, AJ.
Certainly good to know. Thank you, Brad. And now in Owens Crossroads, where yesterday 48's Nick Ballinger brought us a 48 exclusive on what led to the riot at Pathway Incorporated back in September. 48's Nick Ballinger breaks it all down.
Pathway in Owens Crossroads is meant to be a home for troubled girls, but on one night in September, it was nothing but a house of horrors.
From what I could hear over the radio, it was bad, and some of the staff were actually like screaming, yelling for help.
The 3 former employees I spoke to wanted to keep their identity hidden, but they shared an inside look into that night. This is the aftermath. Broken windows, rooms trashed, offices destroyed. One of the employees was working that night.
There was a staff member that allowed 2 residents to fight. That's what started it.
She says the daily routine of the girls is like prison. 1 phone call a day, sometimes only twice a week. Meals she described as inedible.
They don't get to go anywhere. You know, they just sit. They're just sitting there, and that's a lot of times when the girls start getting rowdy. They're getting irritated.
She says the irritation would usually lead to verbal arguments until the day of the riot, when one employee had enough.
One of the staff members said, "You know what? Y'all just go at it." You know, she would say stuff to them like, "Oh, you know, it doesn't matter. Y'all are going to end up in jail." You know, she would call them the B word, and she actually put her hands on one of the girls.
Pathway is home to girls of all ages. She says one of the girls that was involved in the fight was much older than the other.
So when some of the older girls found out, they went after the older girl. That's how it started. They were trying to get out to get her.
The group of girls then attacked that employee, stealing her keys and forcing themselves through the building to get to the older girl. That's when police were called. But the former employees don't blame the girls. They blame the management.
Honestly, I've heard more from the girls there tell me about it.
The program manager told us that we are not to refer to what happened as a riot. We are to refer to it as behavioral incident, but it was a riot.
They say everything was building up to this riot.
Physically and mentally exhausted at this point, overworked, undervalued, underpaid, unappreciated, talked down to.
And untrained.
You might see somebody hired one day and the next day they're on the floor and they're not even trained in crisis management, de-escalation techniques.
And stick around for tonight's 10 o'clock newscast for the second part of that story from 48's Nick Ballinger. But now another story in case you missed it. Yesterday we learned that John Michael Legg, the man who was accused of murdering 7 at a home in Valormerso Springs, along with Frederick Rogers, pled guilty to 3 counts of capital murder. Yesterday we spoke with the mother of one of the victims, Lorraine Peacock, whose son was killed in the incident.
I don't hold no grudge against nobody. That, you know, in the beginning I did, and it caused a lot of problems. But now I'm ready to heal. Nothing I say or do is going to bring my boy back. For my own peace of mind, I have to forgive them for what they did. If you think about it, look at them. They're kids. They're both children. They're not old enough to know the difference. Really, that the impact of their decision had on their entire life. They will now.
And now in Arab, where former wrestling coach and teacher Mike Pruitt recently passed away. Now, according to a Facebook post from Arab High School, Coach Pruitt died on Monday. Pruitt was a teacher and coach at the school for over 25 years. Under his leadership, Arab piled up 7 AHSAA traditional state championships, 2 dual state championships, and 4 traditional state runner-up team finishes. Pruitt was inducted into the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. He retired in 2020 and later moved to Mississippi. The school said Pruitt had ongoing heart issues and recently had triple bypass surgery. He died after suffering complications from that procedure. And 48 Savannah Sapp will be bringing you all more on the coach's outstanding legacy in the community. But now, Alabama education leaders have decided to implement new social studies standards in schools. Teachers will now be required to spend more time teaching state history and topics like the Holocaust. These are the first changes made to social studies classes since 2010. Before the new changes, the only required Alabama history course was taught in 4th grade. Now, Alabama history will be taught in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade as part of the new changes. Another big change involves more time being spent examining the impact of the Holocaust. And 48 Sarah Grace Kennedy spoke with State Superintendent Dr. Eric Mackey, who says students will learn about what led up to the Holocaust, the horrors of it, and how it even impacted the U.S. and Alabama history.
We're very excited about making sure that all of the history is told, even though that's certainly a dark blot in human history, and one that none of us ever wants to relive. It's one that students need to be aware of and understand in order to avoid it in the future.
Well, absolutely. And now it is time to take a look at the latest Crime Stoppers. As always, let's see who 48's Gina Benitez and Huntsville police need your help stopping this week.
Huntsville police are shining a light on two incidents they say happened just a day apart. In one case, they know the identity of the person of interest. In the other, they don't.
Let's start with this guy. Police say his name is Ismael Hernandez Marquez. He's wanted for questioning about an accident he may have information about. They believe he drives this red Cadillac. If you can help police find him, call them. And on November 25th, HPD says someone walked into a gas station on Johnson Road and left their car unlocked and the windows down. They say this man, who was in the parking lot on a bike, went to the car, grabbed the victim's purse from inside, and then took off. If you recognize him, call cops. Madison County Sheriff's deputies say Starling Santiago de la Cruz borrowed a truck from a friend and then stole 2 checks from inside. Deputies say he then went to a bank and cashed a check for $4,500. He's wanted for theft by deception. Joe Korn is wanted for failing to register as a sex offender with local law enforcement. Police believe Clayton Camp switched the tags on items he was buying at Walmart and stole more than $1,700 worth of merchandise. He's wanted for retail theft. Kayla Miller is wanted for chemical endangerment. Police say she used several drugs, including methamphetamines and fentanyl, while pregnant, and that after giving birth, her baby tested positive for drugs. And deputies say Rachel Wright opened 2 credit cards and took out a loan using a fake identity, stealing more than $2,400 from the victim. She's wanted for identity theft. It's easy to earn up to $1,000. If you have information that can help police, just call 256-53-CRIME or add a tip to P3 Tips. That's an app you can download from the App Store. You can also text or email your tips. For more information, visit the Crime Stoppers link on our website, WAFF.com.
And now a story, in case you missed it, out of section where 48 Savannah Sapp was yesterday, bringing you a story on a new nonprofit dedicated to assisting pregnant women in Jackson County. Savannah Sapp tells us all about it.
Couple is currently outfitting a new building to create a warm environment and support resource for women in Jackson County. Melissa Hancock says during her work at Turning Point Pregnancy Center in Scottsboro, she saw the need for more resources for expecting mothers, teen moms, and even at-risk women.
I've planned to service every type of woman, no matter mother or not.
Where Hope Begins will soon have headquarters in Section, where Hancock says women can come by and get the resources they need, like furniture, formula, food, and apply for jobs. She says they will even support at-risk women who may be in unsafe situations.
We will have those resources. If there's something that they need outside of us, we can delegate them to the right person.
So we're excited to find a building right here at home and be able to do this at home because we've got plenty of support here.
I hope that women realize they're not alone and that they can always have somebody in their corner and somebody to always mentor them and just tell them that they can do it.
Now, the couple tells me they've already raised around $3,000 in t-shirt sales to provide supplies to the center. They expected to be open in March, but they are already taking in women in need. You can learn more about how to connect with them on our website at WAFF.com. In Jackson County, I'm Savannah Sapp, 48 News, on your side.
Well, thank you, Savannah. And now coming up after the break, we'll talk about holiday travel, Amazon workers striking, and a Christmas story out of neighboring Georgia you're just not going to want to miss. It's all ahead. I'll see you in 1 minute. Well, hello and welcome back to Before the Four. Now, if you're planning to travel for the holidays, buckle up. It could be a bumpy ride. Transportation leaders expect a record number of travelers this holiday, up 3.5% from last year. And Linda Bakiro has details on those numbers and advice from TSA on packing. Take a look.
Taking off for the holidays over the next few days, join the crowd.
Hanukkah and Christmas are starting on the same day, so we can see some anticipated added volume because of that. We expect some of the busiest days to be December 20th.
Across the U.S., 40 million flyers expected between today and January 2nd, with the busiest days projected to be December 20th, 27th, and the 30th. With extra volume at security, the key advice from the Transportation Security Administration: get to the airport early, 2 hours before a domestic flight, 3 hours before an international one. This dad is at Newark, headed back home to Florida after picking up his daughter here from Pace University.
We had a lot of time. Our flight's not until 2 o'clock, so we're about 2.5 hours early. So
why did you do that?
Just in case, traffic, crazy crowds.
This TSA officer has advice for those traveling with gifts that could trigger a manual safety check.
It's best if you guys bring bags or boxes, gift bags or gift boxes, because if they're wrapped, if anything's wrapped, it's going to be ripped by us.
He says it's okay to carry on certain solids, including candy canes and fruits like bananas, even fruitcakes. But liquids like eggnog should go in checked baggage, and be prepared to pack your patients with a continued air traffic controller shortage.
They may need to reduce the number of arrivals and departures that can be accommodated on an hourly basis. And what happens when that happens is we do see delay programs.
I just learned that my flight has been canceled, so I am trying to get to a new flight right now. So it's full tilt.
Oh, so it's a rough start.
It's a little bit rough start.
Sounds like a busy time, that is for sure. But now a national story that 48's Noah Cowell will be localizing here in Huntsville tonight. A potential holiday hiccup for millions who shop with online giant Amazon. Less than a week before Christmas, the Teamsters said workers will begin striking at several Amazon facilities across the country this morning, in what the union calls the largest strike targeting the company in history. NBC is at an Amazon facility in Atlanta.
This morning, a holiday headache that could derail deliveries for Amazon shoppers just days before Christmas. The Teamsters Union announcing some workers at Amazon facilities and delivery drivers will begin striking at locations across the country.
We want reasonable benefits. We want to be able to have sick pay without being fired. We're fighting for vacation time, better safety.
The Teamsters say workers will join picket lines in New York City, Atlanta, California, and Illinois, and that others are prepared to join them. The group's president writing, "If your package is delayed during the holidays, you can blame Amazon's insatiable greed." The Teamsters say nearly 10,000 delivery drivers and workers at Amazon facilities have joined the union. Amazon employs 1.5 million in its warehouses and corporate offices. The union says it's striking over pay and working conditions.
The pain we have when we're having like 300 to 400 packages a day.
The dirty vans, it's just horrible.
While Amazon says the Teamsters, quote, intentionally mislead the public, saying in a statement earlier this week, disputing that the union represents thousands of employees and drivers, and saying it attempted to coerce Amazon employees and third-party drivers to join them. Amazon also says it doesn't expect an impact on its operations, but labor experts say the timing of strikes is strategic.
You want to make sure that the customer desperately wants to get their packages. That puts more pressure on the company to go to the bargaining table and get results.
The strike leaving shoppers wondering about their deliveries during the peak of the holiday crush.
Thank you. And Noah Cowell will be bringing more on this story here in Huntsville coming up in our evening newscast. But, well, Santa Claus isn't the only one making use of scout elves this holiday season. An elf in Georgia is keeping the holiday spirit alive on the roadways. Local News Live reporter Joshua Skinner caught the elf in action. And take a look.
It's a cold, rainy,
ugly day here in Coweta County. But although these drivers have to worry about school traffic, they don't have to worry about a Grinch ruining their Christmas. On a rainy morning at East Coweta Middle, he sits.
We're trying to encourage everybody to be nice.
An elf, spending the holidays watching drivers on Highway 16. Sometimes an applaud, sometimes there's a rumor he's a social studies teacher here at East Coweta Middle.
Aaron Hilton.
And what was at one time a one-time thing has blossomed into an East Coweta tradition.
I'm surprised on how people start asking me, are you doing it this year?
As a case of the Mondays envelops the weather, it's hard not to smile in traffic, especially if you're directing it.
He is wonderful for our traffic. Everybody slows down.
Some stop for a closer look.
It kind of calms everybody down. It's wonderful for Highway 16 and this community in this area.
No Grinches allowed.
It just kind of fits my personality, I guess.
It's a different kind of observe and report, keeping a watchful eye on drivers and students.
In this day and age where everybody can say whatever they want over a keyboard, be nice, be kind.
In Coweta County, Joshua Skinner, Atlanta News First.
He's always watching, that is for sure. But now let's head into the stories you're just not going to want to miss in our evening newscast. A Tennessee Valley golfer being named the PGA Rookie of the Year. Find out who in our evening newscast. Another story you're just not going to want to miss. Preparing for winter storms as winter is only 2 days away. Get that story from 48's Aria Pons. And finally, a batch of Decatur students heading to compete in a large state competition. And these are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss in our evening newscast. And it is that time. We have a little bit of time for, of course, Facebook fun. I am just going to scroll through some of my favorite photos today. I wish I could include them all because they were all super great. But let's see. Look at that. There's another one right there. A selfie, gotta love it. Another awesome one, and then a dog. That is incredible. Like I said, I wish I could use all those pictures today because they were all super incredible. They very much made my day. But Merry Christmas to you all, of course. Enjoy the weekend and enjoy tonight's evening newscast. I will not see you all tomorrow, but I'll be back on Monday. And with that said, I want to, of course, thank you all for watching, and you all have a great night.